All right. Whew, this is going to be something else. I'm Lonnie,
I'm Amberlicious.
and we're Untitled Nerd Network. And this is the season finale of Loki review. Which is, technically, it's not a series finale. It's a season finale because the one thing that they did let us know at the very end of this episode is Loki will return for season 2.
Yep.
And I hope to God he does. 'Cause
Right. They left us on a big cliffhanger, didn't they?
there were about 4 different hanging plot threads at the end of this episode.
Oh, man. Oh,
Um,
golly.
they, Loki and Sylvie spend most of the time during this episode talking to the dude at the end of time. He who knows all.
No, he who still remains.
He who still remains, okay.
He who still remains.
And anybody who has been paying the least bit of attention to casting news and everything in the MCU. Jonathan Majors, the guy that played him, I am not familiar with him really, so I wasn't 100% for sure if that was him or not. So I was still, during the episode, was spoilers by the way. This is pretty major.
Irony.
I've been I didn't recognize the guy, so during the episode I suspected who he was, but I wasn't for sure because I wasn't familiar with the actor. And I feel like that made the episode even better for me.
Yes.
So spoiler, this dude that they were talking to was actually Kang the Conqueror. And what gave it away was he was like, I've been called many things. A conqueror, a ruler, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, ha, 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 look at that.
Yeah.
That was what gave it away for me. But you still weren't 100% for sure because Marvel tends to...
Marvel do shit like
Yeah.
that, and it don't mean nothing. They just want to mess with you, you know.
Yeah. It was like the whole, Agnes Agatha fake out, Like, everybody kind of knew that she was Agatha Harkness, but at the same time, nobody
No
really
one was
wanted
100%.
to... Yeah!
No one wanted to pull that trigger, did they?
No, I mean, people were saying it, but it was like, I don't know. Just, they've done weirder things before and kind of threw us a curveball and ended up not being that person.
Mm-hmm.
This right here, 100%. And here's the thing. The Kang that they see in this is actually a kind of a good guy, anti-hero,
Yes.
means to an end type player,
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the issue.
I think he's a good guy. The one they talked to.
I think
because, he explained there's many variants of him too.
Yep.
Which we already knew that. We've seen all the Lokis.
He was keeping everything under control, and they didn't like the way he was doing it. But to be honest, there was really no other way.
Yeah, that was my thought on the whole fucking thing. It was like, he prevented different, timelines or multiverses or however you want to say it from having huge wars.
Because here's what happened. He was a scientist in the 31st century.
Yep.
Everybody right about that time started to discover the other multiverses.
Mm-hmm.
So he happened to run into other versions of himself, and they came together and did a really neat kind of alliance and everything. But
for the greater good.
Yeah. So in an endless stream of multiverses, of course, there were some bad ones. And they tried to take over, and there ended up being a huge multiversal war, which this is a more detailed version of what we saw in the season premiere.
Yeah.
They just kind of give you a quick look at it. But in this one, it's like, oh, this did happen. This is why it happened. And so they he basically ends up, just doing this one timeline. And, okay, this is the way it's got to be. We can't have these divergence because all the multiverses will end up screwing around with each other, and there'll be a big war again, and it could wipe out all of reality. And so...
But he also was like, I'm tired if y'all want to take over.
Yeah, and so he offers them a couple of choices. Either they could kill him and let the multiverses reign supreme, or he would just step aside and they could take over and do it for him because he was just done. You know, he's
Yeah,
been
could
doing
you
it.
imagine?
Oh yeah, like a
You
million
know?
lifetimes just having to do all that crap.
And it really was, we'd been talking about, we felt like, the timekeepers, and it was one person behind the curtain, like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
This was exactly it. It was one person, really. And he was just like the Wizard of Oz. He was just putting on a show, really. Like, yeah, he had everything under control, but he was like, "Fuck, I'm tired." So was the Wizard of Oz. That's why he wanted to go back to Kansas.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, there were so many. Here, the big thing that gets me with this is they they go to like 2018 Ohio, and they find Judge Renslayer as like a regular human,
yep.
and they leave it at that. We're never given an answer to that. What the hell happened?
Yeah, what
And
did she do that, like, she needed to come be at the TVA, you know?
here's the thing.
We've already learned they don't always tell you what they did to fuck up the timeline. Hell, they never answered why Sylvie was yanked as a child. Never. And you wonder, what the fuck? As a child, you know.
Mm-hmm. Because you know it wasn't because she was a woman. It was because, they would have done that as soon as she was born.
Right.
Who knows what happened there. But also, oh my God. Let's go ahead and go into how this whole thing ends.
Yeah.
They spend all that time. Well, Sylvie decides that she wants to kill the dude at the end of time.
Mm-hmm.
Loki says, no, we don't need to do this. We need to think this through because,
Yeah.
if everything he says is true and we kill him, if we kill him, we need to be 100% sure that this is the right choice because if we kill him, he's 100% dead.
Right. Because here's the thing, Loki. The reason Loki's like this and not all gung ho kill him, he's already saw how his life ended.
Yeah.
Is what it is, and he saw how his life ended and how and that changed him. That did, seeing all that.
Yeah.
Changed who he was. If he hadn't have saw that, he would have been right by Sylvie's side. Yeah, let's kill this dude. But he, seeing his demise, he realized there are bigger things on this.
Yeah.
Going on in his life. There are bigger things, and he's like, maybe we do not want this. This is probably worse than what we think it is. It's bigger than Thanos and the Infinity Stones.
So once there comes a point where they cross the threshold, and it's to the point where the dude doesn't know what's going to happen at this point. It's like, okay, I've never seen this. This is beyond anything I've ever seen.
Right.
And you look outside, and there's like this huge band. It looks like a halo surrounding it's basically the time. And they show you because they kind of take you through it, and you're hearing all these different points of time and main areas, like important stuff, and both in the real world and in the MCU, you're hearing.
Oh yeah,
all
they
this.
started the episode like that, which was eerie.
Yeah,
that was so eerie to hear different points of the MCU. It's like, holy crap!
So
holy crap!
You get that, and then Sylvie decides, hey, we're gonna kill him. So once they decide this and everything, you start seeing little branches coming off of the timeline. And so then her and Loki end up fighting, and then they finally come to this, heartfelt conclusion. They embrace, they kiss, and then as soon as they do, she kicks him through a time portal, goes over and kills the guy.
Yep.
And at that point, the timeline is just royally fucked.
Yeah.
And horribly fucked. I mean, beyond anything.
Yeah, you thought those branches were rough before?
Yeah.
These branches had branches.
Yeah, because there's like a branch, and then it branches, and then it branches. Next thing you know, you've got a huge, massive, millions of branches spider web of a timeline going on. She kicks him through the timeline, and he ends up back in the TVA. Well, he runs, and he finds Mobius and somebody else who were like talking
92.
about... Yeah, I think so.
I think. Yeah.
as to like what's going on. You know, hey, I know what's going on. This is how Sylvie killed the guy, and we're everything. And Mobius is like, who the hell are you, dude? And he realizes, holy shit, I'm in a different timeline now. And he looks, and there is actually a statue of Kang.
Yep.
In the TVA.
Yeah, instead of the statue of the timekeeper.
Yes.
There's the statue of Kang, and it's like, that's scary. That's so scary.
Yes.
I was like, I can't imagine how Loki feels. Like,
so
to be like, nobody knows who you are, but you know all this information, so they're looking at you crazy, you know?
You remember what the statue looked like.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it had like the little thing.
The cape and stuff, yeah. Got you.
That's
okay.
Kang the Conqueror right there.
Alright, okay. Well, he was, he who still remains had that, but his was seen better days.
Yeah.
Because he said he was older and older than he looked. But.
So what you've got now is a bunch of branched realities, and it kind of, God, just the fact that he is now trapped in the TVA,
right,
and all it's just chaos. It really is. It's just uncontrolled.
And this is all because someone let their emotions rule their decision.
Yes.
And it's not the first time we've seen that.
God.
Look at what happened with Star-Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a lesson that's heavily played through the MCU is when you make decisions like that based on emotion, it really fucks things up, like hardcore.
Yeah.
You should kind of ground yourself first before you do that.
And here's the thing. I woke up, I didn't see any spoilers, but I did wake up to reports that Tom Hiddleston is gonna be in the Doctor Strange sequel.
Okay.
There's
well,
no.
I guess that makes sense.
And here's the thing: whenever this was just a couple of weeks ago, but there was a story going around that they had already filmed an entire second season of Loki, but there were a lot of people who were like, did they film an entire second season, or did they just film a bunch of extra footage that they didn't use that was, they only used like half the footage, or, like, companies, even when it's not Marvel, do that all the time. They'll make a bunch of extra footage to kind of throw people off. That way they have like, they'll film a scene where Loki got killed when he really didn't,
right.
And just kind of like keep everybody off the scent. And that was kind of what I thought, but now I feel like they've already got a season 2 ready to go, and they're going to drop it sometime probably in the next 6 months to further push the story. Either, I'm almost guessing it's either going to be right after the Spider-Man movie, or maybe like right around the same time Doctor Strange releases. Like, it's going to be in that area. Like, I'm honest to God expecting Loki season 2 to drop either like the last month of this year, or maybe the first 2 or 3 months of next year. Like, they've already got it ready, apparently. So, oh God, I don't even know.
Do you think Loki regrets stealing the Tesseract?
No.
No?
Well, I don't know. I almost feel
I don't either.
I almost feel like him stealing the Tesseract may end up being the saving grace of everything.
That's true.
Because he had to play a part in this. I feel like if he didn't, and Sylvie was just allowed to run rampant without any...
Oh, God, yeah.
I feel like she would have screwed things up even more.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Or maybe she would have never made it there. I mean, who knows?
Maybe she would have gotten caught, and this never would have happened. I don't know.
It's iffy.
she seemed to be really raising some hell before Loki came along.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they had no clue what to do, and it was like because of Loki that they even figured out where she was at. But I don't know. There's so many questions that need to be answered here, and that's why they ended it the way they did, because they're going to have us talking about this through God knows how long. And what is it? Next movie? Isn't the next movie Shang-Chi?
I'm pretty sure.
I'm kind of curious as to how all that is going to, like how Shang-Chi and the Eternals are going to play into it. I'm hearing that maybe both movies take place before all this, maybe even before Endgame. Like maybe we're getting a couple of prequel movies or something that's just setting these guys up. Kind of like Captain Marvel was, kind of like Black Widow even. You know, like there's no telling, but the MCU going forward, like this whole multiverse thing is major.
Yeah.
Like there's no way they're going to be able to avoid this, and we're realistically going to have to wait until probably December for any answers whatsoever.
Yep.
And you know, I'll go ahead and tell you, like you know how I told you that right now there's that, this is kind of a major spoiler, but we don't really know for sure. But remember I told you the deal the other day about that supposed plot leak from the Spider-Man movie? Mm-hmm. Maybe the reason Doctor Strange's spell screws up so bad is because he wasn't counting on a multiverse. Like it would have worked just fine, but the multiverse has totally screwed up a lot of the magic and causes major issues in the MCU.
That's fair.
Like he knows what he's doing, because you know a lot of people are like, yeah, how could Doctor Strange screw up a simple spell like that? He didn't. Right. The timeline screwed up the spell.
Right.
He didn't know. Like he's never.
Yeah, because nobody knows what's going on right now. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
To everybody else, everything's just honky dory. Blah blah blah.
Maybe the use of magic breaches the timelines or something, and holy crap! Like that adds a whole other wrinkle to the Doctor Strange sequel if that's the case. Mm-hmm. So, what do you give this episode?
Oh, this gets an 11. This shit gets an 11. Oh my god.
Oh, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, this right here is the best piece of MCU television that has been released so far, easily. Mm-hmm. Like this episode was number 1.
And don't get me wrong, WandaVision was really good.
WandaVision was great.
Really good show. This right here though, it's better. But it leans more into, you know, the plot and shit of the main movies, so.
I mean, WandaVision did too, but this thing really is going to affect.
Yeah, this has a bigger effect though, yeah.
You're really gonna have to watch this series to get the full.
You are. You're gonna be lost if you don't.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that they'll do a pretty good job of explaining it in the movies, but it's almost like watching Endgame without watching Infinity War.
I was fixing to say,
you know,
you need to watch both though to get the full effect.
Yeah, like you could do it, but who really wants to? You know,
you don't get the full effect. You don't get the full emotional impact.
Yeah.
You know, this was really upsetting to me when he was in the different timeline and they didn't know who he was. That was scary to me.
That is just absolutely, that is being lost.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? Nobody knows who you are.
It is.
Which is interesting because not only did he not recognize him as Variant Loki, but he didn't recognize him as Loki. And you would think the TVA would know who the hell Loki is.
Yeah.
So where's Loki in that timeline?
Didn't know who Loki was. Everybody knew who Loki was when he showed up in the other one.
Yeah.
He showed up here. Well, Variant, what's your name? Who are you?
Yeah.
The fuck? The God of Mischief, bitch. I don't know. What?
So it's like, what? It makes you wonder. what is going on in that timeline?
Yeah, what happened to him?
Kang has probably taken completely over.
Maybe.
And you know he's not hiding in the shadows. They got a damn statue of him in the TVA.
Not.
So he rules everything in that
This is
reality.
too much. I can't take it.
Hell, Earth is probably been razed to the ground, in that reality. Every single one of them have. Either that or he's ruling the whole thing. And I'm just, golly. Woo!
What do you give it?
Oh, 11. This is, like I said, this is the best episode of MCU television that we've ever had. Possibly some of the best Marvel television in overall. Mm-hmm. Like this matches up and even surpasses like the best episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And like really there was so much. This was a very, very major episode.
Yeah, it was.
Like this is like this is gonna spring everything forward, and you really need to watch, if not this whole series, at least this episode, to really get the full effect of what's going on from here on.
Yep.
So, fantastic episode. I can't wait. I'm going to be watching the internet for news and kind of trying to piece together a timeline on when can we expect to see a little more. But of course, they're going to leave a huge cliffhanger like that and then immediately release 2 movies that have nothing to do with the timeline that we know of.
Yeah, because you can't count out them end credit scenes.
Yeah, Shang-Chi
sure.
and the Eternals both. But at the same time, this is like the perfect time because What If is getting ready to come out in just a few weeks. And it's going to be like an animated series. It's going to show what if all these things had happened differently. And I guarantee that What If is directly related to what just happened. Mm-hmm. Because now they have an avenue to show you all these different timelines of what would have happened.
Yep.
All the timelines are coexisting right now. We're going to get a peek into a handful of them. It's going to be super fun. Can't wait.
Yes.
All right. Well, that is it for this one. We'll, God, I don't even know. I guess technically next we'll be back with Rick and Morty next week. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, absolutely great episode. If you haven't watched it and you don't care that we've already spoiled it, go watch it. Seriously, this has been a great series. All right, we'll see y'all next time. I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
We're Untitled Nerd Network. This is the season 1 finale of Loki. The episode was titled For All Time, Always. 46 minutes, which was actually one of the shorter episodes. And we'll see y'all next time.